Hi everybody, we're going to go over this video 3 main points to help with your upper body posture for mountain biking. Hi, my name is Liz. I'm Doctor of Physical Therapy. I'm also a mountain biking skills instructor and owner of The Ride Life. It's an online company focused on training programs for women mountain bikers to help you gain strength and help you ride farther and just have more smiles for the miles. If you're interested in a training program to help you progress and even to support the ideas in this video, check out the description below. So let's get to it. When we're talking about posture for your mountain biking, we want to talk about our strength in our shoulder blades. We want to talk about our ability to support our main trunk with this posture. A lot of times whenever we fail with our posture, it's because we're actually trying to use so much more with our arms, whether it's holding ourselves up with them or whether it's pulling with our arms. That can do good for kind of beginner trails, but whenever we start to go into more technical terrain, when we start to ride for longer, we find that we're failing, we're having more arm issues, we have more hand issues. We also can cause ourselves to have more neck issues with this. And so as we talk about our upper back posture, one of the things it can do is it can help the bike move underneath you better. It can also support you for your breath whenever you're climbing. All of these things are super key for you just having a more fun time on the bike and being able to ride for longer distances. When we talk about our posture in regards to not using our arms so much and to support our trunk, one of the areas that is our key focus with that is our upper back. Our upper back comprises of a lot of different muscles. One of the main muscle groups are what we call our shoulder blade muscles. They go from our shoulder blade and connect back to our spine. These muscles are so critical for understanding how to support our shoulder itself, because the only bony structure that we have that attaches our shoulders to our main axial skeleton, the main bone structure of our body, are our collarbones. They're not going to do a whole lot when it comes to giving stability, support, and like actual grounding. That's because our shoulders move so much. They have so much degree of movement that we can't have a bony structure that attaches to them. To help with giving our arm more support, then we use muscles. The main muscle groups are those shoulder blade muscles. They connect, as I said, from the shoulder blade back to the spine or to the rib cage. And so we have some that wrap around our side. We have some that include our pec that come from our shoulder blade back to our ribs. All of these guys are super important. Now, most of the time when we think about posture, we think about bringing our shoulders down and back. We think about elongating our spine. And that's a similar thing that I want you to think about for the mountain bike. Except for there's 3 main concepts that we need to talk about. The first one is I need you to work on pulling exercises. Pulling exercises mean like the row, they mean a reverse fly. All of these things really work on targeting those shoulder blades. However, whenever we work on these pulling exercises, there's a very key part that we need to make sure that we're doing correctly. This brings us to point number 2. So again, point number 1 is add pulling exercises to your regime. We don't just need to be working on planks. We don't need to be just working on push-ups. We need to be actually pulling and opening our chest when we do these exercises. So when we talk about point number 2 is to make sure you're not bicep curling, you're pulling exercise. There's many ways that our body can make things more efficient. It can do things the easiest way possible. It's kind of how we're built. We're meant to do things the most efficient way possible. But if that means that we're weak in a certain area, then our brain is not going to use that area whenever we put so much load on it. So when we're doing more of a bent over row, whenever we're doing more of that reverse fly, it's key that we're actually using our shoulder blade muscles for the movement and not just bicep curling. So when we're thinking about that bicep curl, when we're thinking about getting in, you can curl the weight or you can open up your chest with the weight. One is you're actually using more of these back upper body muscles, and the other one is that you're just bicep curling. You see how my shoulder isn't moving very much. I'm not opening my chest. I am doing a pulling movement, but it's not going to give me my bang for my buck. The key whenever you're doing any of these exercises is to make sure you're getting your bang for your buck. So pull and open that chest when you're doing this bent over row. Same thing can happen when you're doing more of your reverse fly, is make sure that you're actually opening up your chest with it. You see how my shoulder's actually moving now, versus if I leave my shoulder here, now I'm using more of just my shoulder muscles here to make that move happen. This goes back to the bike, because when we're doing any type of manual, when we're doing type of front wheel lift, we want to make sure we don't bicep curl it. We want to make sure that we're actually using our body to pull and to move the bike for us. That means that those upper back muscles need to be strong, and they need that control to make sure you're not just bicep curling your bike, and you're able to move it with more of your body, and that'll be a more efficient way for you to do it. It'll also allow your front wheel to drift up even higher, because you're moving your body out of the way. Instead of, if I'm just moving my front wheel from here to here, bicep curling, then I can only lift it here. Versus if I'm actually moving my body back to lift my front wheel, I have so much more range of movement to use and move my front wheel. So again, point number 2, don't bicep curl your pulls, or just use your shoulder muscles to do it. Actually make sure you're moving and opening that chest, getting that shoulder blade to move on your ribs, and thinking about pinning it down into your rib cage and towards your spine. These are focused exercises, and a lot of ones that get missed on typical exercise regimes. The third point, and one of the main biggest points of it all, is your core control. If you don't have good core support, if you don't have good control through here for your lower cylinder, then your top cylinder, what sits on top of it, is not going to be able to be supported as well. And so as you're thinking about doing the rows, the bent over rows, or the reverse flies, your core has to be on and solid. Otherwise, instead of whenever you're doing that, you'll end up arching your back to make that movement happen, arching your back to make that move happen, instead of actually being still through here and using your shoulder blade movement. Because now you're actually moving from a stable base to pull your shoulder blade back and to open your chest and bring your shoulder back. Those are key parts, because otherwise then you'll start feeling it more along your spine going all the way down, instead of focused in towards here to help you with using and actually strengthening those shoulder blade muscles. This also brings in the fact of whenever we're doing any hip hinge or other exercise that works on our core and to help with our posture, a lot of times, a lot of the women that I work with, they say whenever they're going to improve their posture to bring their shoulder blades down and back, they end up doing the stripper booty, is what I call it. That's whenever your butt sticks out, you arch your back, instead of actually being here and working again on those shoulder blade muscles to give you support for your upper body. This is where you get your grounding. If you find that you move into too much of an arched back position, then you're not going to get the stability and support for the rest of how your bike needs to move, because we have to move our legs to move our pedals to propel ourselves forward. And if we're not able to shift and move that bike underneath of us separately and to get that drive from our trunk while supporting our upper back, then our core's it's not going to be able to be that if we're in more of this kind of stripper booty or back extension position. It's not the best position to support our spine to make sure we don't get low back tightness. And so to help with your overall body posture, tuck that tail a little bit, engage more of this bottom cylinder, and get your support for your upper back. You can even just stand in a little bit of a hip hinge now. Think about supporting that trunk and just open up your chest and do this without any load. And you should find that if you are moving your shoulder blades to get that, you'll find you'll actually use those muscles in between your shoulder blades and your spine. You find that your posture is really solid in this position. If you can't, then that's a good sign. This is an area that you really need to focus. You really need to target it with some of the exercises that you're doing off the bike to give you more support, to give you more strength, so you can be able to support your neck, support your shoulders, your low back, and get more power. Control where you're steering whenever you're climbing, and feel that nice aggressive position as you're mountain biking downhill to help with that control. So you are guiding your bike instead of the bike guiding you. All of these are so important to help you with having more fun on the bike. So in recap, number 1, add pulling exercises to your exercise regime. Even if you're just standing in the kitchen sink, just do some pulling exercises there. And or if you want to really add some, check out the Ride Life Team, which is my exercise program below, and the link is in the descriptions. That's going to add an entire area for upper body centric focused exercises. And I really focus in on helping you use that pull with making sure that you don't, too, use your bicep to help pull or to pull, and making sure you're getting those shoulder blade muscles involved in the game. You will feel your bicep and or your shoulder muscles work, but you also need to feel those shoulder blade muscles moving your shoulder blade in towards your ribs and a little bit in towards your spine as you're opening that chest up. You can't have too much of a good thing with this and just driving in that shoulder blade. You want to make sure it seats into your rib cage, that bottom point, seats into that rib cage or goes closer to that rib cage as you bring your chest open. And so making sure that it's not just in, because you see that, versus in. And that's a much stronger position for your shoulder blade, and your upper back. 3, making sure you're including your core work. Making sure you understand how to resist rotational forces on your trunk, and that you are staying strong through here so you don't just back extend to get those shoulders open and that chest open, and making sure that you are actually using more of those shoulder blades for help and support. Because we need that when we're riding, and we need that support to help us control the bike underneath of us, being in that nice aggressive position. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe below. I'd love to know in the comments if anything was kind of an eye-opener for you. And if you're looking for a program, go ahead and check out the Ride Life Team or my Core Crushers program in the link in the description below. Cheers, y'all. Have a great day.